Excellent. Well, just as people start making their way in, I'll just kind of give a run through of what the aim is to do today. So, for those that have been on previous sessions with me looking at AI tools, I focused on ChatGPT, which has become a bigger, um, in some cases, concern for many people. But as we can see, there's a plethora now of apps and tools that are available which use AI technologies to support them. Now, um, in the week, I was talking to someone about this, and I was like, well, they have been around for a very, very long time in one shape or another. I think they've just now come greater to the public conscious. The intention for today is to go through a range of tools that are out there to help support our planning and preparation as educators. Um, the intention isn't to, as I've done previously, to focus on replacing what we do, but it's to really kind of speed up the nature of some of the bits and pieces so we can focus more on the students and stakeholders of our setting. Um, there are loads of different things that we want to be able to do, but we find that we don't have the time for that creative space, or we don't have the resources always available. So everything I'm going to be showing you tonight will be things that are readily available. I'll be showing the strengths and limitations of the tools that are out there, and where possible, I'll be showing you the elements that are free, and that's quite an important element for us. There are many of the tools that are out there, and I found this, and I was talking to Beth about it, which are behind paywalls. And what you're finding is now with the emergence of AI, there are more and more tools coming on the market, but more and more of them are going, you can have a little bit, but then you've got to pay X, Y, Z. Now, the intention of what I've done is I've gone out, I've looked at all the tools that are out there and how they work. And what I have tried to do is go, okay, there's this tool here, but I'm going to show you a way of doing exactly the same thing that this does, but for free, because that's what we want at the end of the day. May not look as kind of glamoury and all that sort of business, but we can do exactly the same thing. We can achieve our mission at the end of it. So what I will do is I will share my screen. Hopefully you'll be able to see it. If you can see my screen, that's much appreciated. Again, if you could just, someone could give me a thumbs up, that would be absolutely amazing. That would save me. Fantastic. Thank you for that, Phil. It's over there. Now, as I've done with all of my sessions here, and those that have been on them in the past, if at any point I do speak a bit too fast, or you'd like me to repeat something or go back through it again, just drop a message in the chat box. I have got it on another screen, and I'll be happy to support. Also, if you have any questions or queries, such as could it do this, could I do this, please pop them in the chat box, because that really helps me to explore how we can help support you. Now, the tools that I'm going to be looking at tonight, the basics ones I've got are on this Padlet, which I will be sharing. I will be adding to it as I go along. Be aware though that some of them are behind paywalls. They'll have like kind of, you can use it 3 times a month, or for some of them you can only use it 3 times before you have to start paying. But like I said, I'm going to try and showcase around it. So I've got 2 tasks that I really want to do today. One is I want to create a fantastic presentation about Welsh castles, and then look at how I can use this to create resources. And then I want to create a creative story on dragons, and to use AI imagery to boost this and make this quite interesting for us to do it. So everything I'm going to be doing is based off this very basic Word document. So I've got this Word document here. I have a story, well, not a story, I have like a basic short summary of the Welsh history of Welsh castles. And then I have this story I've made about dragons. And that's what we're going to be basing it on today. So I'm looking at how I take a Word document and make it look a little bit more interesting for students, and how I can build a range of resources from it in a very short space of time. So let's start with our first tool. So the first one I want to look at is an add-on that we can get for our Google Slides. And this is called slidesai.io. Again, it is on the Padlet for us. Now, this is an AI presentation software, and it's actually attached to Google Slides. So you download it as an app, and it comes up as an extension on your Google Slides page. Now, the great thing with this tool is that we can insert text and it will create a slideshow for us automatically, very quickly. It'll do the artwork, it'll do the imagery, it'll format it and make it look quite nice for us. For those of us who may want some extra support with writing presentations or don't have the time, or maybe we've got the text, this is a really good tool for that. Now, there's a couple of things we can do here. Let's say, for example, I want to make this presentation on my Welsh castle text. So what I want to start with is, firstly, I can look at, using Slides AI, I can just copy the text, go to extensions, because I've already added this on. So I've gone on Slides AI, I've installed it onto my computer. It automatically puts onto Google Chrome. Go to extensions, go to Slides AI, and then I'm going to go to Magic Write. Now, what this will do is it will open up a text box for me, which I'm going to put my slides into, which I'm going to put my text into. Now, the one thing I do have to give a heads up with for today is that because I am using a lot of AI tools on here, it may be a little bit slower. So if you are using this, don't be worried if your computer does start to slow down a bit. So extension Slides AI, we're going to generate slides, sorry. Okay. So at times I will try and do two things at once if I can. So that's one. So what I can do here is, firstly, you've got to be aware that you have a character limit. So I can upgrade and I can put more characters in. So I'm just going to input this text about Welsh castles. I can then pick what type of slide it is, it's education. I can put an automatic number of slides, and I can input these different things of whether I want more titles, add images, summarize text. Now, add images, it will read the story and it will put different things in. So more than likely, it'll put pictures of castle in. If I put the word dragon in, it will have a dragon, etc. I can then go to themes, in which it will then pick a different style for me. Now, you are limited on the basic one. I can create custom themes if I want, where I can adjust the color to myself, or I can import one if you already have an imported one. So if you have a slideshow style that your school uses or your workplace setting uses, I can import that one. So let's say, for example, I'm going to pick this modern monochrome dark. There we go, I selected that. Okay, so I've saved that, go back to my editor. I'm going to replace the existing slides because I've got a few on there already. And then I'm going to go create slides. Now, what this is doing right now is it's reading the text. So I've just given it 250 words, and it is going through, picking out what it thinks is the key bits of information for my slideshow. And it will maybe bullet point it, it will put headings in, and it will add images that it believes fits quite well with the topic. You can see in the background right now that it is starting to build that slideshow for me. Again, it will slow down your computer, so that's something to be aware of. Okay. So slides are being created. There we go. So what this has done, it has taken the information I've created and it's made this very basic slideshow for me. Now, it's not perfect. And this is the one thing with AI. And when people talk about, oh, AI is going to take over the world, it's still got a long way to go. So as you can see, I don't think this young lady here has much connection to Welsh castle military. So I can go in and I can still adjust and I can change bits and pieces. Now, the one thing with a lot of these tools is they're okay. They're not fantastic. This one, it will create it for me, but I still have to go in and play around with it a lot. Now, what we can do here is if we clear all of these slides, we can look at taking that same bit of text, because one of the things that I'm looking to do is go, well, how can I make that piece of text I had on Welsh castles easy for a PowerPoint presentation? Now, I'm using quite a lot at the moment Google Bard. I think Google Bard is one of the tools that's out there, very similar to ChatGPT, but it's an absolutely fantastic piece of text, piece of equipment that we can use to help speed up our presentations and still allows us that creative. So what I'm going to do here is I still want to create this presentation. I'm going to say use the text provided, turn it into 6 slides, which I can present. Then again, put that text in. Now, with ChatGPT, with the free version, you do have to plan and prepare because it does have a word limit on it. I think about over 1,000 words and it starts to crash. Using Google Bard, I haven't had so many issues. Now, the great thing you've seen here is it's taken that text and it's actually made it a nice, clear presentation for me. If we look at the standards of this in comparison to what it produced for me, it looks a lot neater. So I can use that and go, well, actually, I'm going to take that text there, just going to copy it, go back to my slides. I don't really particularly like this. I'm going to delete all that and I'm just going to paste in. There we go. So now I can start to really think. So I'm using the 2 tools here and go, actually, I'll put that there. That text I quite like. Maybe I'll just add some images in there. But again, this is presentations AI, slides AI, I mean. There are a range of other ones out there as well. So apart from this one, we have, just going to delete that one. This is one that's been quite popular out there. This is presentations.ai. It is free, but there are limitations. I'll explain what these are as we go through. So very much like with the earlier one, we can import text. So let's create it. Now, with this one here, you've got a few things that you can do with it. You can create idea to deck. I can import. I can use an existing template, or I can do text to deck. Now, the great thing with import, which I found quite useful, is I can actually just put straight into it a PDF, an Excel spreadsheet, a Word document, and it will convert it into a slideshow. Now, with the spreadsheet data I found, it's created it into little graphs for me, if it's quite clear. And again, with the PDF, it will take a large policy document and it will turn it into a slideshow. Do have to check and go through it. That's one thing to be aware of. Now, if I go text to deck, what I can do here is I can put in, let me go back to what I had earlier, which is my, let me just delete this. I'm going to take my text from my Welsh castle and I'm going to put in this. Now, you are limited, as you can see here. 1,500 words is the maximum it will be allow in. So you do have to think about what needs to go in there. So I'm going to delete that. Hopefully, there we go, for after. When I'm happy with that, I'm then going to click continue. It will ask for a few details. I'm happy with that. Generate presentation. So again, it's taken a large chunk of text for me. And right now it's working its way through, deciding what goes on each slide, how it will fit to create this information for me. Now, I could make it easier if the quality isn't there, and I could use Google Bard, that list that I had for each slide, and I could input that manually. This is just to show how we can input text and turn it that way. Now, there are pros and cons with this system, and I'm going to kind of show you that now. So the pros are it does create really nice looking presentations. They look smart. They do have quite a professional edge to them, which is quite good. Again, it's speed. Limitations again, not sure if a picture of a plane in the background has much to do with Welsh castles, or whether that's an oven. I'm not sure how it fits. You can go back through and edit and change, which I will show you. But there we go. It will use a variety of different ways to present data, especially if you've got large timelines. It's quite good at turning those into timelines for us. Very nice. And we've got a very simple presentation created. And then we're finished. Okay. So, like I said, I can go back into it. I can adjust the background pictures and go, I don't really want a picture of a plane in the background, and I can replace those little things. So what I can do when I go to replace, I can actually kind of pick as to what that is. So I can replace that. If it can't find a castle, let's just put the word castle in, because you can see how it's working. What it's trying to do here, they are. Let's put that in. It's reading whole sentences and trying to replace that for me. Now, this is where the big limitation again with the presentations.ai. If I want to download it as a PowerPoint, you have to pay. The only way you can do this for free is by sharing it, and you share this as a public link and you get a share link, and that's how you then copy that link and put it out there. So again, this is another tool, really fantastic, looks nice, but if you're wanting to use it, you've got to go down this share link option. But it's something for you to think about. If you're looking for something with that instant data, those timelines, it's a nice way, especially if you're limited for time. We're going to leave that one there, and we're going to leave this one here because I want to look at, well, what else can we do from this? Now, we can create a range of different tools. We can create AI slideshows that we can download and we can add. And that's what I really want to look at today. Now, I'm going to start off today by looking at my Welsh castles, but I'm going to now move it on to my dragon storyline. Now, as we can see here, I've written this story very quickly about a dragon named Draken. No idea why that was very unoriginal. We'll put two there. And I'm going to copy this story. Now, I wrote this very, very quickly. And one of the other tools that you'll see a lot now with AI is this use of grammar and spell checking. Grammarly has been around for donkeys, and it's a kind of good tool that we can use to help check. But this one is called paperpal.com. So PaperPal, available at the top of the Padlet, is a tool we can use where you can input text. So I'm going to input my story text, and what it will do is it will scan it, and it will scan it for quite a few things. It will do a spell check, it will check for sentence use, it will check for structure, and it's quite a good one for us to think about when we're looking at, say, for example, we're writing a policy document or we're writing a formal piece of research, and we just want some support with the grammar and structure behind it. Now, PaperPal will read the text we have, regardless of what it is, and it will give you some ideas. So if I go for here, punctuation, I've written he was a very big and scary dragon with sharp teeth and claws and a fiery breath that could melt metal. And it's going to say, well, actually, should I change it to this? Now I can accept those changes or I can reject them. Again, it'll go through the punctuation, it'll make alterations that it thinks is beneficial for your story. So I may accept that one. There we go. And it will change that for me. It's a great way of us to put something in and to go, okay, am I adding too many words? Can I adjust it? Can I make it easier to read? Now, again, punctuation, it's a key element for us to consider. Again, this is a great tool that we can use. You can install it into Word, so you can have it as an add-on on your Microsoft Word document, and it will check it as you go through. Now, as you'll see at the bottom, there are a number of uses that you get. So you actually get, it says 53 uses there, but what it means is it will give you each month a maximum of 200 review points. That means 200 of these. So it will say to you, you know, I've got 14 sentences for review, so I've used 14 up of my allotted amount. And if I do want to use this quite often, it's not too bad. It's about £6 a month to add it onto your Word document if that's something that you think you need for your writing, whether you're doing some academic work. The good thing as well is it's not plagiarism in any way. What it's doing is looking at helping to support your writing, the structure, very much like Grammarly, but it does come at a cost. So now the next question is to go, well, okay, Jules, you said you'd show us the free variations that are out there. And this is where we go back to my good old friend, Google Bard. Now, with both Google Bard and ChatGPT, what we're finding is, and what I'm spotting, is that there's so many tools out there, but they're essentially using these as their engine. They're using them in the background. So the question, what I'm saying to a lot of people is go, well, why don't you just go direct to source? So I can go onto Google Bard and I can go check the text for spelling, grammar, punctuation errors, and provide support. Put text in it, and this will go through. Now, this is completely free, and this will save you that large changes and does exactly the same as what that last text did. So what it's done here, it's identified where my errors were. It's identified grammatical errors that I didn't particularly like. It gives me the nice thing again is that option where I can check it, go through, and then it's corrected it for me. And I can go through and I can read it and I can get that support. Really useful if you're doing, like I said, a letter, if you're doing any sort of academic text. I've used this when I think that I wrote some feedback. I thought it may have sounded a bit too strict, and I got it to check for meaning and check for understanding to make sure it's clear for a lot of people. So using Google Bard saves you £6-7 a month. And there are so many of these AI tools out there which talk about giving you spell check and grammar support and all this. This one does the job for absolutely for free, and it's really useful. Okay, so let's take this story. There's my story. We're going to go back to our original document. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of that, and there's my story, which has been nicely checked. What's the next step? Because at the moment I couldn't give this into my classroom because it looks extremely boring. It doesn't really do what I want it to do. I want to create this story and turn it into something exciting, a slideshow with images and bits and pieces that get people excited. Now, for this, what we're going to do is I'm going to look at using my old favorite, which is Canva. And I keep banging on about Canva, and it's just getting better and better every single time I go on it. Now, what they've recently introduced is what's called Magic Studio. And Magic Studio is all of their tools, but now they're starting to add AI power behind them. This is through their use of AI applications. So we can start with a few bits and pieces here. And I'm going to start with Magic Design for Presentations. Now, the great thing with Magic Designs for Presentations is that with a few words, I can get it to create these quite interesting looking ideas that I can use for my story. And I want to start with, it says, use 5 words to describe what I'm writing. So I'm going to do a fantasy, dragon, and mythical adventure story. So I just put in a load of words. Now, what this will do is from those words, it will create a template for me. It will use those images to make a load of ideas and go, okay, well, this might be quite useful. This will have this, we'll build it for you. And this is through what they call magic design. I can go through all the potential options that they have. I quite like that one. Now, with Canva, you get up to 8 credits, and that gets upgraded each month. So you can get 8 uses. You can create 8 of these slideshows. I can see here, there we go. There's it's built this nice little presentation for me. So I'm going to apply all 7 pages to my presentation. We're going to go back. There we go. So now I've got my story here. And we're going to find here that that's an image that I don't particularly like. It has this big logo on it, which means that if it's got a logo on it, I have to pay for it. So I'm going to delete that. Now I want to find an interesting picture. I want to make a picture that's going to go on there. And this is where we can go back to Magic Studio. Now, one of the things that I have seen on it and has been really interesting is the idea of Magic Edit. And this is another AI tool which they've added to the Canva list. And this is really interesting for us if we're looking to produce original, exciting ideas. So with Magic Edit, what I can do is I can edit a photo. So I'm going to pick a photo. So let's go to, I put one on here earlier, uploads. So I'm going to pick an image. So I'm going to pick, there's me walking in the fog. Delete that back one there. So there's a picture of me walking in the fog. We're going to edit this photo. And then what we're going to do, we're going to go to Magic Edit. Now with Magic Edit, what I get to do is I'm going to draw on it where I want them to add a picture. So I'm going to draw on here. There's me walking in the fog, very happy. I'm going to go continue. And I'm going to say in there, I'm going to have dragon flying over castle. Okay. And I'm going to generate. Now, what that's going to do is it's going to take those words and it is going to add this image to my picture. Now, they're not always fantastic. They're not bad. It will give you a few different options, but it is looking to develop. So at first you may look at it and go, not so great, but they are definitely getting better. That one will suffice for the time being. We're happy with that one. Oh, that one actually looks really good. I like that one. Okay, I'm going to have that one there. I much prefer it. So I'm hit done. I'm happy with that. So when I'm happy with that one there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share that one, download it, and I'm going to save it as a JPEG. So I've now downloaded that picture. So now I have that picture saved to my computer. I've got my AI generated picture, which I'm going to put onto my presentation. So all I can do now, go to uploads. I'm going to upload a file, which I've just downloaded. Well, I'll just do it this way. There we go. and I now have my picture. Now, if you spend a little bit more time, you can make it a bit bigger, but we started to get our story built in there. Now, when we've taken this one here, we said we wanted to make it a little bit more interesting, so we're going to start to build on it. We're going to create our story. Now, at the moment, the text that we have for our story is quite big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to go back to Google Bard, and I'm going to take the story and I'm going to go, well, I actually just want single sentences that are going to fit onto a slideshow. So using the text provided, to 7 sentences which tell a story for a slideshow. Again, put that massive whack of text in there. What this is now going to do is summarize it very clearly. Now, this summarizing tool is really useful as well, because we can also use it for things like policy preparation as well. If you want an executive summary of a larger document, it's quite useful. So let's go back to our slides. I'm just copying simple bits. And again, the great thing with this is I can just paste and put around. Got that background image there, which maybe we want to put. This is again where we put in our larger text in the background. We can start to really add it in there. So in 2 seconds, the dog. Yeah. So sorry about that. So that simple text that we've now got, we can really start to play with. Now, the other thing with the images, and you can see I was trying to play with it a little bit earlier, was there's so many different things out here which I can look to create different bits and pieces. And one of them that I really like is Hey Gen. So Hey Gen is the use of AI avatars. So what I can do with this is I can actually create, if I want to have myself speaking on it, or maybe I want to have a cartoon on there, maybe I've got a picture of a dragon on there, I can add that image, add text underneath, and that's, again, it's something else I can add to that video for me. So one of the examples I was playing with earlier, I took a picture that I had here, added some text, I can pick a voice that I want, and then I can generate that AI video. And what that'll do is it'll create a very short video, it'll animate the face of the person, and it'll put it in there. It's a nice little twist for you. So if you don't want to record yourself, you can actually get it to create a short AI person for you. And that's really interesting. So there's a little video.
Hi there, welcome to my channel.
So quite freaky. I can add that to my story. So as you can see now, let's delete that one. So if you want to have...
Hi there, welcome to my channel.
You've got AI videos in there. Now, there are so many AI video tools out there which cost an absolute fortune. This one, you do have applications for it that is available for use on here. Now, the other thing as well with this, again, I'm saying that there's so many issues with some of the images that you do have to pay for, but you've got so many tools on here where you can actually create images just using words. So Magic Media, which is another AI imagery tool that you may have heard of, is one where, like, you can put the text in and it will create something for you. So let's say, for example, you're desperate to find a picture that'll fit, and you want it of a dragon sat on a pile of Easter eggs, wearing a top hat. I then pick what style I want that to be, whether I want it to look like a photo, anime, watercolor. I'm going to go for dreamy, and I'm going to create that image. So what this is doing is it's taking those words and it will produce something for me. And this is a great way if you can't find that distinct image that you're looking for. If you're trying to make something, there we go. I have my nice dragon story. Delete that one there. And I have my dragon sat on a pile of Easter eggs, wearing a top hat. You get 44 uses of this. So, and that's each month it gets upgraded. So if you want to create a load of different things, you can do that. You can also create videos. So say, for example, I want to have a video in there of this. So if I want to have a dragon flying over a castle, dropping eggs, I can generate short videos as well. So it's not just images that it has. And this is an AI tool built in, great way of making things a little bespoke, especially if you've got that creative story that you're writing for it. So alongside the AI video avatars, you've got the AI text to video that's there available. So just waiting for that to create. Be interesting to see how this comes out. Will be interesting. Now, again, whilst that's doing that, very much like with PowerPoint, this does have the presenter view notes section that we had from earlier. So if you were wanting to add the story on the side, very much like you have presenter view at the bottom of PowerPoint or at the bottom of Google Slides, it still has all those sorts of features that are available. So we're just waiting for this to come in. It does take its time. This is the one thing to be aware of with AI, is that make sure you've got a really good internet connection for it, because it will kind of eat into the time. While it's doing that, if there are any questions so far, sorry, I've not said or asked anything, please pop them in the chat box. I'm always interested to hear. So any likely to be any issues with copyright and any of the images? No, because they're created kind of bespoke in a way. We're not going to find too many issues with the copyright because it's creating them for us for public use. So that's the only issue comes when you start to make it bespoke to a certain person or how they look. That's when we may have sorts of images, sorts of problems with that. So here's my video. Again, it's what they call in beta mode. So some of them are okay. They're not bad. You may want to play around with it a bit more, because what you can do, if you're not happy with it, you can generate again and again and again. So you can create a range of different videos. You get 4 uses of this a month to make these videos. Really good little tool. So start to really build our presentation. Now with this, once you've got this made and it's created, you get a few options for it. If you've got videos, you may want to share it as a kind of a link, a public view link, in which they can watch the videos and they can listen to the avatar speak and they can listen to you speak over the top. But you can also download this as a PDF or as a PowerPoint file. And this kind of gets around what I said earlier with presentations.ai, the slide AI, great tools, fantastic elements, but they're not allowing you to, if you want to download it, you've got to pay an absolute fortune for them. So that is something that is a little bit of an issue for it. So someone's put a great question in there, which is the premium account if you have an education license. Now, under the plans and pricing, that I would have to look a little bit further into. It's not something I've ever looked into as an education license, personally myself, but Joe, I'd be quite interested. Does it limit your uses? Yeah. With the one thing I do know with the education license, it does have the AI tools. It does limit the amount still each month. With the premium account that you buy as an individual, it's huge. Now, what else do we have with Magic Studio, which is the AI tool? Loads of different things, text to video. One of the things it does have, which I really quite liked, was the video software. Now, for myself, I'm not great at creating videos. It's something where I go out, I use a GoPro a lot for the things that I do. but I'm not that great at editing and cutting and putting them together. And this is something that we've recently seen with the AI element, is it's reading it very much like it reads it with the words and the text that you put in it. It can read the video and the content of it. So what I'm going to do here is I've selected some videos. So I've got some GoPro videos that I've taken myself out in Snowdonia, and I will put some words in here what it is. So it's Snowdonia, mountains, hiking, something like that. And I can generate. Now, what this is doing right now is it's taken the videos, it's taken the text, and it's adding them together. It's cutting them down, it's playing around with them. It starts to add text to it. It will also create music that it thinks is appropriate. Now, one thing as well, you can still edit and play around with them. As I've realized, some of these videos, for some reason, it has put them the wrong way around, but it has added music for me. So it's created a nice little video. Now it's a little bit jerky because I'm using Zoom at the same time, so it doesn't really have a great time with it. But it's a great way if you're making videos and you want videos, instant editing. That took about 2 seconds just to dump them in, created the headings. And I have got the option to go back in and say, for example, I want to add another video to it. I can go in, find a video that I've put in there. So let's take that video, play with this. Very nice. So you can still play with this and you can still cut it very much like with earlier. So that's quite good. Just got a question there. Are different English language accents available? English, Welsh? Now this is a really great question. Thank you, Annette. With the voices, if I want to add in, so let's say, for example, let's add in a different slide. Actually, just delete that one. It is quite limited in it, in which when you add the avatar in, it will have it as American English or have it as Australian. It doesn't have Welsh dialect. But what I can do is I can add direct audio into this. So if you record something like this, what I would do is I would record the audio in, I can upload it. So if I want to talk myself and include that on it, I can record my own voice, my own kind of dialect, and put that onto the videos. So yeah, with regards to the AI, with regards to Welsh, it's not got to that level yet where it's created the instant audio for you. Okay. This is something that I would say really do have a play with. There are so many different elements on the Canva from the AI perspective, which are really useful. Now, we've looked a lot with creating presentations, creating these literacy worksheets and bits and pieces, creating images with AI. But one of the final things I wanted to look at was the mathematics side. Now, there are a number of different tools out there for maths and for creating questions and bits and pieces and computational stuff. And one of the classics that was always available, and I remember using it myself, was Wolfram Alpha. Now, Wolfram Alpha, if anyone's not used it before, originally it was just purely a mathematics one, but now it's included science and technology, society, everyday life, and it is kind of like an answer bot for computational language. It's just a ginormous tool. It's really useful for helping you to understand the mathematics. I used a lot when I was doing A-level maths quite a long time ago. So with Wolfram Alpha, in a simple sense, say for example, I put a calculation in here. So let's go for that, 2x plus 3. What I can do with this is it will work out the calculation for me. It'll give me a series of options for it and it will solve it for me. It's an instant kind of solver. It's a great way of testing out bits and pieces. Now, your mathematics may be much better than mine, but it's a great tool that provides us with a multitude of options. Now, the one thing again with Wolfram Alpha, it provides the step by step, but you're going to get this thing here, which is the GoPro now, which is where you go, well, if you want to know more, you've got to pay us for it. Again, this is the big problem with so many tools out there, which people are wanting to use. How do you get around it? So I'm going to take the same sum and I'm going to go back to Google Bard again. And we're going to use this to not just help us solve it, but to use it to create worksheets and additional tasks. So let's go solve 2x plus 3 equals 7. So I put exactly the same thing as I would do with Wolfram Alpha. There we go. And it will solve the sum, give me a process, and how to check it. That's quite nice from a basic level. But where can we go from this? How can this really help benefit us as educators? Well, the next step is to go, well, say, for example, that's the sort of level of maths I want to work on. Well, I want to make it into a worksheet for students. So using the sum above, create 10 similar questions I could use in a math class. Now, this is one of the things that you can't get with Wolfram Alpha. I won't create these for you, but straight away it's created for me a differentiated mathematics task. It's given it to me in words. It's given it to me in written format. Quite a nice little tool. Now, what it has done here is it's given it to me with answers, and I don't want the answers. So I'm going to take these. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just go instead. Rewrite about answers. So I'm going to use this tool to take that maths task, which it's already decided and it's solved for me. There we go. And I'm going to turn this into a worksheet. So let's go back to Canva, which again is a really great tool for designing and building bits and pieces. We're going to go to worksheet templates, which is available. So let's go, what's my 5 words to create my design? So math, worksheet, template. Again, what it's doing is it's taking those words, it's finding examples that might be quite useful for me. Again, those with the little hat you've got to pay for. Those without are absolutely free. So I can take one that I quite like the look of, which is this one. This is quite nice. Customize that template. Get rid of that. Okay, it's taking a little bit of a moment. It's just having a little, it's done well, I'll be honest today, so I'll let it off. And there we go. I've pasted in those sums. So straight away, I've got my worksheet created. I've got my mathematics. I could use it to, I could take this from earlier and, I could maybe go back to my add a page. I could paste that in and I can play around with that and I can make that really interesting for people. What that does is it provides a little how-to guide, then a worksheet, and that was created within a case of seconds. Again, with something like Bard, I could elaborate further. I could ask it to make written word problems based on, distance or travel or a cultural thing or maybe a moment in that time, which is really useful for a lot of people. Now, that's great for the worksheets, but I know that a lot of people are really interested in using things such as quizzes And there's loads of different AI quiz software out there. We've got Quizbot, Super Quiz, Send Steps, and I looked at all of these. But again, that same thing was fantastic, but then there's a paywall. Fantastic, and then there's a paywall. So can we get around this? Let's go back to our good old friend, Google Bard. And let's say, for example, I want to turn this here into my quiz. So with something like Google Bard, I can actually do what we see on a lot of different texts. So here's my text from earlier. Go to chat, and I can turn this into a quiz using the text provided. Turn into 10 quiz questions. This is again getting around that paywall that's out there, doing exactly the same thing. And this is why I'm saying a lot of tools that are available still using the same method, the same ideas, and they're just using this software to basically make some extra money. But it's a great way of us putting in text. We could have a policy document, maybe we start our sessions with it, but it just speeds up the process for it. So it's not doing too bad. It is getting there slowly. Try again. All the things that we've looked at as well. If you use ChatGPT, it does that as well. There you go. There we go. Fantastic. So this has created some questions for me. Maybe I give them the text, but it's a very simple process. It is a whistle stop tool. There are so many things out there, but hopefully, we've looked at slides, we've looked at grammar and spell checking and sentence structure, we've looked at some videos and video editing, and we've looked at some the use of avatars for videos, looked at the maths tools that are available, and we've looked at some quizzing tools that are out there and how to take them. And hopefully this has given you a little bit of an idea for something that you can use in your setting. What I'd love to do is just kind of open the floor if you've got any questions, and hopefully I can support in any way moving forward. Thank you. Can you create a set of comprehension questions from a text? Yeah, of course. So it's all about, with something like Google Bard, it's all about that prompting. So using the text provided, create 5 questions, 5 comprehension questions for students at age 15 UK to elaborate on. It's all about, there we go. And the great thing with this, again, it will kind of give you some bits and pieces, all based off the text that you have put in there. So this text, I kind of found, and it was a great way of putting it forward. And it's that speed up of process. It just means that you're not spending so much time on the preparation, the planning, and you're actually able to spend that time doing the things that we do have. I read the other day, teachers do on average 27 hours a week of purely just admin. So, if we can cut that down and allow more time in the classroom, that's really what we want. But great question. Thank you for that, Jane. Like I said, this sort of thing, copy and paste it, put into Canva, add those images, make it look bespoke to your setting. It does jazz it up quite a bit. But great question. Thank you. If you've got any more questions, please put them in. If not, I really do hope that this was a session that was really beneficial for you. And look forward to hopefully seeing you at more in the future. But I will be sat here to answer any questions you have. So thank you very much for coming along tonight. Oh, sorry, Carrie, you answered the question, which was premium features. Do they have limits? Uh, yes. So the premium features, what they will have on it, um, underneath it will say how many times you can use it. So certain premium features will allow 50 uses, some will allow 4 or 5. So just make sure you kind of just check underneath. It will say when you've reached your limit with them. Sorry, I didn't see your question there. So thank you. Excellent. Thank you for coming along tonight, and I really hope it was a useful. Yeah, and it updates monthly, so just use it wisely. I really hope it was useful. It's much appreciated.